Good day to everyone, especially to my viewers out there. So, today, I will be discussing the language and human. So, our learning objective for today is understand what is language and human, understand the different kind of human language by Hackett's, and explain the key characteristics and purpose of each feature. So, first, what is language and human? So, language is a structured system of symbol for communication. Human refers to the species Homo sapiens, distinguished by advanced cognition, culture, and the unique capacity for language. Language and human identity are inseparable. It is primary means of developing personality, social structure, and cultural identity. So, in short, language isn't just a tool for talking. It's fundamental to how we become individual, form society, and define our collective human identity. Now, let's move on to non-human communication. So, non-human communication is the way anything non-human communication without the use of words, according to Cabrera 2013. So, non-human communication use a variety of techniques that can be classified into four main categories. So, the first one is the visual communication, auditory communication, the chemical communication, and lastly, the tactile communication. Now, let's tackle about first, the visual communication. Using their senses of sight, they are able to convey their message to one another in two forms. So, by just using their sight, they can communicate to each other. So, in this visual communication, there are two forms of it. The first one is the badge. Refers to the physical appearance of an animal that can hold certain meaning for their kind. The second one is the display, are the animal's behaviors. The second one is the auditory communication. It involved the use of hearing, on which animal produce sound that conveys different meanings. The hissing, barking, purring, and growling are some of the examples of auditory communication. The sounds that they produce may be used to ward off threats, attract mates, or express feelings of pain or happiness. So the third one is the chemical communication. Some animals also use pheromones or chemical marking to attract mate, ward off threats, and mark their territories. They do that by releasing or leaving their own signature scent. So, chemical communication is a way some animals convey message using substances like pheromones or chemical marks. They release or leave unique signature scents to achieve three main goals. The first one is drawing in potential mates, keeping away dangers or rivals, and defining and claiming their territories. And lastly, the tactile communication. They use the sense of touch to convey message. They use this form of communication to show comfort, fear, affection, and power. So, tactile communication is a form of messaging where animals or even humans use touch to convey information and emotion. Through physical contact, they express feelings like comfort, fear, affection, and also signal aspects such as social power and dominance. So now that we're done discussing the four categories of non-human communication, let's move on to Hackett's 13 original design features of language and human. But before that, let's all know who is Hackett. So, the full name of Hackett is Charles F. Hackett. He was an American linguist who developed the design feature of human language, a set of characteristics originally 13, that distinguish human language from animal communication system. Now, let's discuss the first one. The vocal auditory channel. Language is produced in the vocal tract and perceived by the ears. So, in the vocal auditory channel, language is physically produced using parts of the vocal tract like lips, tongue, and vocal cords, and it is received and understood by the ears, which detect sound waves carrying the message. So the second one is the broadcast transmission and directional reception. Sound is sent in all directions but is perceived by a listener as coming from a specific source. So it means that when speech sounds are made, they travel outward in all directions. But listener can identify the specific location the sound is coming from, allowing them to focus on the intended source of communication. So, let's discuss the third one. The rapid fading. Linguistic signals vanish quickly after they are produced. So, unlike written symbol or physical markings that persist over time, speech and other linguistic sound disappear almost immediately after being produced. Once a person stops speaking, the auditory signal fades away. So, communication happens in real time. So, the fourth one is the interchangeability. Human can both send, speak, and receive or hear the same message. Rules are fluid. So, humans are not restricted to being only sender or only receivers of language. We can both produce and perceive the same type of messages. And our roles as speaker and listener can shift fluidly during interaction. Now, let's move on to the fifth one, the total feedback. A speaker hears their own speech and can monitor or correct it in real time. So when speaking, a person hears their own voice as they talk. This lets them monitor what they're saying in real time and make correction or adjustment. The sixth one is the specialization. Speech is produced specifically for communication, not as a byproduct of another biological function like panting to cool down. So, it means that unlike sound that comes from biological process with another purposes, speech is produced specifically to convey message. Its sole primary function is to communicate. Now, the seventh one is the semanticity. Specific signals are tied to specific meanings or object in the world. So, it means that each linguistic signals is consistently linked to a specific meaning, concept, or object in the world. For example, the word water reliably refers to the clear liquid we drink in use. So speakers and listeners share this understand connection. So, the eighth one is the arbitrariness. There is no natural or inherent link between a word's sound and its meaning. So, it means that this is no inherent or natural relationship between the form of a linguistic signals and what it represents. The sound of the word dog, for instance, does not resemble the animal itself. Different languages even use entirely different sound to refer to the same creature. The ninth one is the discreteness. Language is composed of small repeatable units like phonemes that are distinct from one another. So, language is built from small distinct units that can be repeated and combined in different ways. These units are separate from one another. For example, the sound P and B are distinct, and swapping them change the word like pat versus bat. So, the 10th one is the displacement. Human can talk about things that are not present in time or space, the past, future, or imaginary things. So, unlike many animals that only communicate about things in the immediate present, humans can discuss topics that are not physically or temporarily nearby. We can talk about the past, future, or entirely imagining ideas. The next one is the productivity or the open-endedness. The ability to create and understand an infinite number of novel sentences. So, human language isn't limited to a fixed set of messages. We can combine existing units to create and understand an endless number of new sentences, even one we've never heard or spoken before. For example, you could easily make sense of a sentence like a purple octopus played chess on a floating cloud, even though it's almost certainly never been said before. The 12th one is the traditional or cultural transmission. Language is not entirely innate. It is learned from other speakers within the social, cultural setting. So, while humans have an innate capacity for language, specific languages aren't hardwired into our biology. We learn them by interacting with other speakers in our social and cultural environment. So, language is passed down through generations rather than being inherited genetically. So, the last one is the duality of patterning. Large meaningful units or words are made of smaller, meaningless units or sounds. So, in short, meaningless building blocks are arranged in different ways to form countless meaningful words and messages. Those are the 13 features of human language by Hockett. So, here are the additional information. The first one is the fabrication or the ability to lie or make false statement. The second one is the reflexiveness. Language can be used to talk about language itself. The last one is the learnability. One language can be learned by speakers of another. Now that we're done discussing the language in human and the 13 features of language in human by Hockett, now let's have the conclusion. Non-human communication systems are diverse and effective for their specific purposes, relying on visual, auditory, chemical, and tactile method to convey message tied to immediate needs like survival, mating, or territory. However, this system lacks the complexity and flexibility that define human language. Hackett's original 13 design features, along with additional characteristics like predication, flexibility, and learnability, outline the unique traits that set human language apart from its structured, rule-governed nature and ability to discuss abstract or distant concepts, to its independence on cultural transmission and capacity for infinite creativity. These features do not just describe how language works. They reveal how it shapes our ability to think, connect, and build the complex societies and culture that make us distinctly human. Before we end our discussion, let me have a moment to share this with you. While other species communicate to survive, humans use language to live fully. It is the foundation of our identity, the bridge between minds, and the tool that has allowed us to imagine, create, and evolve beyond the boundaries of our immediate world. Thank you for listening. I hope you have a good day. Thank you.